Still dark.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our channel.
Thank you for being here. Let's get this going. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So to start out, if you have questions, you can leave them in the chat box and we will answer them for you now. So thanks for joining. And yeah, I'm Tiami with Expat Launcher.
I'm Yanis with Expat Launcher, and we help expats get settled in Germany.
And all the above, right? All the stuff that you need to get settled, we're there to help you. Okay, so we're going to start off with some questions that have come in since our last call, maybe last month. And if you have questions, put them in the chat box so we'll get started. So, okay, you ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Let's do it. I need to upload my proof of vaccination in the Cove Pass. How do I do it? Do you want to take it?
You take it.
Okay.
It's
very, very easy to take your current vaccination and go to a pharmacy and have them convert it into the different QR codes depending on the number of shots that you've received. You will then take those QR codes and then upload those into the app in the COVID Pass. So there's a few other ones, but you should be a resident in Germany before you do that. However, no one's really checking.
No.
So if you've already registered your address, bring your passport, bring your vaccination. If you have your permit card, bring that, and then bring your on for the address registration. If you have it, takes about 5 minutes in and out. Most pharmacies will do it for you. So if you go to one that doesn't, check the next one. Easy enough. Super easy. Okay, let's go.
What is the extra document that I get with my permit card, and what do I do with it?
Good question. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, so the extra document is called the Zusatzblatt, and it's a little green trifold paper that you will receive with it, and it gives you additional information to your permit. So for instance, it will describe the title in a little bit more detail. That's really what it is. It goes more into detail.
Any restrictions?
Restrictions that might apply to you, things like that are on there. So keep it safe, put it with your passport. You don't need to have it on a day-to-day basis. Maybe someone wants to see it to check your work permit if that's really valid. So for that purposes, you can always get it out, but you don't have to carry it around on a daily basis.
No, just a permit card as ID every day. We always suggest just keeping it with your passport because you safeguard your passport, safeguard the trifold little piece of paper with it, because when you travel, sometimes they will want to see that along with your permit card.
Correct.
Okay. Good questions. Okay. Let's see. Can I have 2 titles on my permit? Example, employment, say, let's just take teaching. That's easiest, straightforward. Someone is working as an employee and they want side work as a freelance teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Can they do it?
You can do it.
Possible.
It's possible, but it's not so easy. So you will basically have to prepare 2 applications. One's for employment and one is for freelance. And that will just create extra work for you. For most people, it's probably not worth it, I would say, but there might be cases where it is worth it, or some people just don't care and want to go through the extra hassle. Go ahead. You can do it technically.
Yeah, you can. A lot of offices aren't as familiar because it's not really a common thing. However, the main thing would be that your employment in company that you're working for has to allow you to do things in your off time. So either that's a separate letter in the contract. So you also have to present that the company you're working for will allow you. When you start working for a certain type of company and you want to do something completely out of a different field, that's where it can get a little trickier, but still possible if you can show that there's enough interest in that side work as well. So definitely check with the agent if they may not be familiar with it, but it is possible. Okay. Did I miss a question? Okay.
Yeah.
Can I speed up the permit process by going to a different office?
Well, that's an easy one. You have to apply where you're registered, and you don't really have a choice. So,
Yeah.
no.
No.
How long can I expect for my visa to be approved? Tell me.
Oh, you're letting me know? Oh, okay. I get this all the time. This is like the most dreaded question I get is how long is it gonna take me? It does vary from city to city, so I would suggest to expect it's gonna take 2 to 4 months, but we're seeing cities that normally process very quickly. They're taking 3 to 4 months. Some cities are taking up to 6 months to process. We can blame it on COVID and they're backlogged. For example, I called an office the other day and I was 110 in line for it's just insane what's happening right now with these offices. But I would say expect 2 to 4 months if you're in cities like Cologne. Not to call them out or anything, but if you're in cities like Cologne or just smaller areas, then you're going to expect to wait several months.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Very much so.
Even in cities like Berlin, Munich, those are cities that process as smooth. I think I'm jumping ahead because I do have another question I think about this, but they're even taking longer to process. Okay, if you have questions, please put them in the chat box and we'll be happy to answer them while you're here. In the meantime,
if not, we just go over the questions we received in advance.
Keep it short and sweet this time, huh? Okay, what is the next one? What cities are the easiest for visas? That was the next question, see? Okay, so like I said before, COVID has slowed things down, it's ridiculous. So it's overall, everything is slower. Once you can get an appointment and you're in front of someone, cities like Berlin and Munich will still be the smoothest because they process a lot quicker. Reason why they process a lot quicker is because they just are inundated with applications. They know what they're doing, especially when it comes to freelance. They understand what you need. But for example, Hamburg's taking 2 months, some offices 3 months to even issue an appointment.
Yeah.
Right. And then once you get the appointment, then you have to wait until they're processing. So it does take a little bit longer in those cities. Whereas in Berlin, you may wait 2 months, 3 months to get an appointment. But once you're in front of them and you were well prepared, you should get approved on the same day, depending on what type of permit you have. Okay. Let's go to the next one.
So, insurance question. People are recommending travel health insurance, but it seems a little too good to be true. Can I apply with travel health insurance for my freelance visa? So you do have the right intuition there. It is too good to be true. So travel health insurance is not sufficient for the freelance visa. There are several reasons for that. One is that under the insurance policies of most travel insurance companies, you cannot have this policy once you're a resident in Germany, and once you apply for a freelance permit, you are a resident in Germany.
And it's travel insurance, right? So it makes sense.
Yeah. So also there's certain long-term risks. If you were to get severely sick or severely injured while on travel health insurance, they don't have to renew the contract, and then at that point it will be very hard for you to find alternative insurance once you already have a pre-existing condition. So the best thing about travel insurance is for being a resident in Germany is the price. They're very affordable,
Easy to set up.
But you get what you pay for. The visa offices in some cities are a little bit more lenient, and they maybe approve it for a first-time application. But for renewal, almost every city expects a better insurance, and also most cities actually require it for the first-time application as well.
Yeah. If you have, say you do go into a city that you think will accept it, obviously we don't recommend it for it, but if you do and you try it, they'll give you time to correct it typically. So, some people say, well, I'm just going to try, and then they're scrounging to get stuff, but they will give you time regardless of your whole entire packet. If you're missing something, they don't typically deny right away. They're going to give you time to correct. But that's a big thing that comes up all the time is the health insurance. So good question. Okay, next question we have, I'm probably going to skip one. I have issues finding an apartment. Do you have any tips?
Tips for finding an apartment. Okay, so first of all, if you're in the big cities, Berlin, Hamburg, Munich, it's difficult. So if you're flexible, just for apartment's sake, maybe go to a different place. Maybe try Leipzig, try like something like the medium-sized cities. Easier to find an apartment there. If you want to go and you're set on those 3 big cities, then definitely for your first apartment, don't be too picky. Lower your standards a little bit. Because you don't need something permanently. You just need something to register and to get your permit, to your visa, and then you can start your life in Germany, and then you can find a better apartment.
Yeah. It gives you more time too if you.
Correct. So have little lower standards. It doesn't have to be perfect right in the beginning. Once you're there and you get to know people, you might have easier access to apartments. And then also what's a good option is just rent a furnished apartment. There are plenty of sites out there, Airbnb, whatever. Just make sure you can register it and then maybe take that place for 3 to 6 months. And you will pay more, but you also save a lot of hassle. And then in those first months, you can upgrade to your dream home, and then you can spend the time really finding something once your boots on the ground.
We have a lot of clients that will end up finding temporary housing. There are a lot of big cities will offer more of a temporary housing, kind of suitcase ready to move in. Keep in mind that 3 to 6 months is ideal because it's going to take you a little bit longer to get your permit due to things with COVID. So I think that's just a smoother route for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But like Jana said, that it is a little bit more expensive. The other tip, I guess, would be the WG gesucht is a big one that everyone is using. If you are looking for apartment searches on WG gesucht, then the idea would be to create a bio. So landlords and renters can look for you because they get inundated. Once they put an apartment online, they're getting 80 requests right away. But then this also gives them an option to find you.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, that's good.
Good. Okay, question coming in. Coming from a U.S. state, full driver's license. Easy. Good question, right?
Good question. So how easy is the process to receive a German Führerschein if you come from a US state with full reciprocity? Yeah. Basically, you have to file a form with the local authority, prove that you have a visa and your residency, and then you're good to go.
And make sure that it's within, when you've established normal residency, make sure it's within a 3-year period. Because after that point, if you've gone over that 3-year period, then you have to start from scratch, meaning driving school, all the tests. But if you're coming from a state that you can convert it, very, very easy process to do. Yeah. Another thing to keep in mind is when you do convert your license, you are actually giving up your US license. So they will take your license and then you would just be, you'll have your German license.
So maybe not worth it if you're only here for 6 to 12, 6 months. Anyway, it counts. But then,
long-term good.
Yeah, only if you're here long-term.
Yeah, and then you can drive in the US. So if you do go home and you're driving there for a little while, you can drive on your German license there. Good question. Good question. Actually, just had that today. Someone asked about that. It was Virginia or Maryland. I'm like, lucky you. California does not transfer. Okay, let's see. What's the difference between freelance and self-employed?
Yeah, so there are different applications, freelance and self-employed. The self-employed application is a little bit more difficult than the freelance one. What exactly the difference is between someone who's gewerblich and someone who's freiberuflich is hard to tell. There is endless case law on this. It's basically historical differences. And like a good rule of thumb is the arts and then the so-called higher professions, so lawyers, doctors, teachers, they will be considered freelancers, and everything else is considered a trade or self-employed, a Gewerbe. So you will have to know what you want to do, and deciding by that, you will fall in one of those two categories. Some jobs are a little bit murky. There's a big gray area in between, and you could have that assessed by professional or by the tax office or your local Handelskammer.
Yeah.
They will do that for you.
And typically, if the Ausländerbehörde, the visa office, has a gray area application, they're typically getting the Handelskammer, the Chamber of Commerce equivalent involved. And then that will be decided if you would fall under self-employed or would be freelance.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, next question.
What is the Steueridentifikationsnummer I received in the mail?
You say that so much better than I can. So your Steuer ID number is your personal ID. So everyone that registers, or once you've registered your address, yeah, some people get it in 2 weeks, some people get it 4 to 6, but you will get your personal tax ID number in the mail. Safeguard it, keep it. If you need to contact the Finance Amt, which is a tax office, then you need to provide that number. That number is associated with you. Everyone in Germany gets a number. I always like to say it's almost the first piece of mail that a newborn baby will get because everyone needs the Steuer ID. That is not to be confused with the Steuernummer. That's your tax number, and a tax number is only for freelancers. So if you are freelancing, whether that's on the side or as full-time, you do need a tax number in addition to your ID, tax ID.
That's right.
Okay. Next question.
How much money should I budget for my time in Germany?
Do you have a lavish lifestyle?
It really depends on your lifestyle, obviously, but we don't recommend to come with less than 5,000 euro. That's really the low end.
Yeah.
We actually recommend to show 5,000 euros when you apply to the foreigner's office. In your bank account, that means you need to have a little bit of a buffer to get you through the first few months before you're ready to apply. So probably about 8,000 euro equivalent is a good roundabout number.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to think of, deposits, and because the visa process is taking a little bit longer, you need to sustain yourself during that period before you can work. So you have to balance that. And then when you apply, you want to show around 5,000 or more. That's the ideal number. And it can be your home country bank accounts. It just has to be equivalent to 5,000 euros because you haven't established long enough to have 3 months worth of bank statements in Germany yet to present. Okay, moving right along. A few more questions I think we have. What should I cannot read today.
When should I start applying for jobs? I want to go to Germany in summer 2022.
Good question. Okay, so let's look at freelancing. Freelancing, I mean, employment could be the same too. I mean, I think employment sometimes it's a smoother process when you're here because you can interview in person. Freelance teaching, people are finding jobs before they come. Ideally, you don't want to do it too far in advance. You don't want to contact a school 6 months or a year before you're coming because they don't even know what they're doing tomorrow, let alone that far in advance. So 30 to 60 days, max 60 days. We say ideally around 45 days before you arrive, start reaching out to schools. This could be the same for employment, but start making a list. If you've narrowed down your city where you want to live or a city where you have to live because you're moving there with a partner, start making a list of all the schools that you would be interested in to interview with, start prepping your CV to make sure it's up to EU and German standards. So there's a lot of things you can do, much further out to prepare. But ideally, once you are in that range between 30, 60 days, then you should start contacting schools, especially if you have an arrival date. If you don't know when you're arriving, probably not a good idea to contact them.
No, that's not worth it.
Just keep in mind also, if you are arriving in the summer, that in August, everything kind of shuts down. So there's not going to be a lot of interviewing or feedback from schools. So more or less shuts down.
Yeah.
Kind of a ghost town. Okay, let's do one more question. And I think we have one more question. Do we have one more question?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think we're good. We got through those quick. Okay.
If you have any questions right now, put them in the chat. This is your chance. We'll be happy to answer them for you.
Any thoughts, anything you need. Otherwise, if you do have questions, you can feel free to email us at info@expatlauncher. We'll be happy to help you. Right now, we do have a waiting list for certain permits for March. So if you are interested or have questions for one of our free consultations, those will be opening back up in the next week or two. So just keep checking our website for times to check out. Question. Oh, you're welcome, Stephanie. Thank you. Best bank recommendations. Good question. If you are freelance employment, it depends on what you're looking for. Good banks, fintech bank that is actually BaFin certified in Germany would be N26. That's a good bank.
Very easy to set up.
Yeah. English.
Modern. Downsides with N26, it's free. So that's not the downside. But
free is good.
No, so they're free. They come with a MasterCard, which you can use in big cities without issues. The two downsides: they don't have an EC card, which definitely on the countryside, smaller towns, government offices will be the number one paying method. So you can use it for that. And the second downside is that it comes with a transaction maximum. So it's 2,500 euros. If you, depending on your lifestyle, that might be okay. Obviously for daily things, it's okay. But if you want to buy a car, if you want to move big amounts of money because you're coming over, you want to buy furniture or have a high deposit, then it's not the right bank for you.
Yeah.
Then we would recommend Commerzbank.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more complicated, old school brick and mortar bank.
German.
German
website.
I think they also have English.
Oh, they do?
I think they do. I think they do.
Good.
A little bit more old fashioned, but reliable, and they have all those features, obviously, and you can have no limit, whatever you want to do.
And like he said, they're brick and mortar. So if you need something, which not many people need banks, but they also are part of the Cash Group, which is just a handful of big banks that you can use any of their ATMs. Going back to N26, also the nice part about N26 is that you can actually deposit or withdraw in a local convenience store. They had on their app, you can see exactly where you can get money. It doesn't have to be at a bank ATM. I think that's really cool.
That's true.
A little weird at first, to be fair, but very, very easy to use if you need to deposit or withdraw. So those are our two top banks that we find are the smoothest for expats. But any bigger bank too, is decent. Just you have to look out for the rates because a lot of the banks will charge a monthly rate. Yeah. Be careful with fintech banks that other than N26. And what I mean is just the kind of online banking banks. There's so many out there now. But what happens if you're a US citizen? They're not part of the FACTA, so there's no treaty between that bank that is associated with it and the US, for example. So you will maybe sign up easy, have it for a few months. Once they realize you're a US citizen, they will kick you out. And it's a nightmare. So yeah,
Happened to her.
trust me, I was so excited. I'm like, oh, I'm going to try this bank. This is just a good extra side bank. A few months later, oh, you're a US citizen, kick you out. So N26 is licensed and certified in Germany, so you can use it, no problem. That was good.
That was good.
That was a long-winded way to say what banks. Good question. Good question. Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up. Good.
If you want to support us, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. And if you are interested in help with your visa or with health insurance, I am a licensed health insurance broker, and we're happy to set up a free call. You can just go through our homepage under Contact Us and schedule it, and then we'd be happy to speak to you one-on-one.
Yep. And same with banks. If you need a list of banks that we've recommended here, you can just email us at info@Expat Launcher, and we can send you a list that have links and stuff that you can go and set up pretty easy.
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
We said this in time. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. Any questions, please reach out to us. And we'll see you in the next live chat, I guess.
Sounds good.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Take
guys.
care.